Is this going to be another year where Dallas Goedert is really going to unveil himself? Okay, we know the ceiling that Dallas Goedert has. Can he stay healthy? Do the Eagles have trust in him? Do we think that tight end is really a battered position and weak position going into training camp? Are we going to find out a lot more going out of training camp into the regular season? Got a lot to talk about there. And a big Sidney Brown update that should blow your mind and should be making you really happy with a smile on your face. So let's get into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Here's some more news on the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't talk today for another day. I'm always can't even talk half the time. So to get into now, there were some reports about Dallas Goedert, where to rank him as all the tight ends. Okay. Now, Dallas Goedert has been a fantastic player for us, okay? The problem I have with Dallas Goedert right now is really health, and I think statistically, obviously, he could do so much better. So we're really looking at Dallas Goedert missing 4 to 6 games a year because that's usually what happens. He gets this injury, whether he breaks something or he has this staggering injury, and he has to stay out for a few weeks. Now, last year, Dallas Goedert had the broken forearm in the Dallas Cowboy game. He missed a few weeks. And we completely ignored the position at tight end. Completely ignored it. But what did you do last year? I mean, you traded for Albert O. You did nothing with him. And really going into this year now, I mean, you have that Castles kid from the University of Tennessee, undrafted. C.J. Usama's a 31-year-old tight end, and he really hasn't played good since he was with the Bengals a few years back than with the Jets last year, and he was coming off of an injury, I think. And Grant Calcaterra is an injury-prone mess. I think athletically he's great. I think, he's had some starting experience since really being here. Jack Stahl is gone now because I think Jack Stahl was really the player that did the dirty work, the blocking, and obviously, had some reliable hands at tight end, and I think was really high valued behind Dallas Goedert and given chances when chances were met there. But with Dallas Goedert, I honestly think he's the second best tight end in the league. He probably isn't statistically, but I think right behind George Kittle, maybe Travis Kelce, I think he's the second to the third best tight end, to be honest with you. And unfortunately, because the availability is a big problem right now, that's what you're going to get. Okay. Now, in a couple years, he's going to be a free agent after he turns 30. Throughout that contract, in a couple years, he'll be 30 and his contract will be over. So, really, I think the Eagles didn't take care of the tight end position this year. They re-signed Albert O to a 1-year deal, and Albert O was a big trade the Eagles did last offseason. He was on the waiver wire, he was going to be put on the waiver wire, but the Eagles decided to trade for him because, they were coming off the Super Bowl. They were the last team on the waiver wire. They were never going to get anybody good on the waiver wire. He wouldn't have lasted to the Eagles, so they picked him up. Athletic ability, separation, acrobatic catching. I think Albert O would have been a lot better going to this training camp if he played last year, if the Eagles gave him more opportunity last year. But this is what we're down to now. We're down to Dallas Goedert hoping and praying that he stays healthy, and we're down to a 31-year-old tight end that didn't play well with the Jets last year and hasn't really played well, like I said, since the Bengals. I mean, there's really nothing there. An undrafted free agent, how much am I really going to put on an undrafted free agent at tight end going forward? And obviously the Johnny Wilson rumors during, OTAs of him moving to tight end was all false, so that's not happening. So I think tight end and wide receiver 3, obviously 2, and right guard, 3 positions right now that, are a big question mark. Right tackle, right guard is a question mark right now, but we feel pretty good about it. Wide receiver 3, in my opinion, I feel really good about it. But tight end, if Dallas Goedert can, stay available, great. But the number 2, because you just completely ignored that position last year, now you really don't know. You gave away your best player, I think, in Jack Stahl, other than Dallas Goedert. Gave away your best player right there. So I don't know what else is really there right now. And I think it's really hard to say that if what's it going to look like coming out of training camp with some of these tight ends. It's going to be really interesting. I'm excited for it, you know what I mean? But keeping Dallas Goedert healthy is the number one priority because he could do anything. I think he's just missed out so much on being one of the best tight ends, or, you know, I think he is still one of the best tight ends, but at least statistically being one of the best tight ends, because, you know, missing so many games, you know, missing 4 to 6 games a year, it's really killing us. And when he's not in the lineup, and hopefully Kellen Moore will have a plan with Dallas Goedert and you know, everything like that. So I want to know what you guys think about that situation at tight end and what's behind it. I think by 2025, by that offseason, we will get an upgrade at the position, because Dallas Goedert is in his prime right now, but is going to get older, and we'll have to replace that position sooner or later in a few years if they hold on to him that long, unless he gets injured every year and it's just like a complete mess where he just can't stay available and he's making way too much money at this point. We'll see down the road. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be happy about this news coming out with Sidney Brown. There was some video that did come out on him sprinting and turning corners and doing some great things like that. So, you know, a couple months ago, Sidney Brown said that he'll be back for the regular season. Now, could he be back for training camp? I have no idea. There has been no update on Sidney Brown, what's going on. But if he's running like this, he's turning corners, obviously he's still wearing the sleeve on his leg, obviously put into that, you know, that horrible game last year where he really got hurt for nothing last year at the end of the year with the ACL, which really sucks. You know, so if Sidney Brown coming back into training camp is huge for this team, and depending if Cooper DeJean goes to safety, I think in my opinion, Sidney Brown will be a better safety than a cornerback. I just think with his legs and how much he can cover the field athletically, I think he's that good, where there are times where he gets beat at safety last year and, you know, caught up with his feet and got the deflection. Like, there were some really good traits and moments that we did see from him. This is a Red Star player for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a guy that exemplifies himself in his work ethic, and they drafted him for that reason. So I think, you know, a guy that's a corner that has, you know, that can play safety that can play corner. So another hybrid guy comes to your secondary on top of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and a couple other guys. So the more hybrid players you have, the better you're going to be. So if Sidney Brown comes back by training camp, then that's fantastic. Then you have the depth. You could have depth at safety, depth at corner. Corner's locked and loaded right now. Even without Sidney Brown, it's crowded right now. But if Sidney Brown is ready for the first game of the season, don't know if he's going to start. I mean, if Cooper DeJean doesn't move to safety and they keep Matt nickel for some reason, depending what they're doing with Isaiah Rodgers on the outside, how that's going to do with Quinyon Mitchell and all that crap that's going on at outside corner with James Bradbury. I mean, all the outside corner noise is absolutely insane right now. But if Sidney Brown actually, you know, maybe moves to, you know, take Reed Blankenship's spot or something like that. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think as a coverage guy, he's just better. I think as a tackler, he's actually pretty damn good. Reed Blankenship is a contact safety, in the box safety. I don't think he's superb on coverage, and you're going to need it for this defense. You're going to need it. That's why I feel like Reed is a solid player as more of a role player, but just not the best scheme fit possible for coverage. If you're trying to cover someone man to man going downfield, gets beat easily. You know, and trust me, there were plays last year by Sidney Brown where he got beat. He got beat on a play on the back end. And he caught up with his legs and got the deflection a couple times. So, you know, I see where he can cover a whole area with his athleticism. So Sidney Brown's got that within himself. But I think it's really exciting. So I think if he shows up regular season, it's going to take 4 or 5 weeks, maybe even more, to get him acclimated. You miss a whole offseason program. I don't care how many times you see these videos and he's working out. It doesn't matter. He's not in full pads. He's not hitting. You know, you lose your sense of hitting and not doing all this during practice. You're way behind. You know, you could sit there and listen all you want and get the terminology, but your body has to be right. Your body has to be 100%. And your mind has to get used to playing football in real time all over again with full pads on and all that. All this takes time. Okay, so even if he's back during the regular season, missing the offseason program is going to hurt him entirely. But, you know, we'll have to give him 5, 6, 7 weeks, as long as it takes until the Eagles slowly start to put him slowly into the depth chart, closer and closer, and then get him involved on some multiple schemes or whatever they can use him, whether it's corner, whether it's safety, whatever the case may be with it. So I think this is exciting. This is really good news. This is fantastic news. I mean, from what this looks like right now, it looks like he will be in training camp. Will it be the first day? Don't know. Maybe the second week? Sure. So I think it comes down to all that. It's going to be really exciting. Let me know what you guys think about that whole situation going forward, because I think that's awesome. And if you guys have it checked out, and let me tell you something. If you guys haven't checked out the Philly Shakedown Podcast merch, definitely check it out. We have some news coming next week on a possible release of a big release and a lot going on. So definitely check out the site right now. We have shirts, we have men's and women's sleeveless shirts now. We have youth t-shirts. We have a whole bunch of stuff. Link in the description for all that stuff. And I hope you guys have enjoyed some of the merch. We've been putting a lot of work into that, into the art and design and all that stuff. So thank you so much for anybody that's purchased and people have looked at it. Appreciate it so much. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about Sidney Brown's comeback. When do you think he's going to come back? What do you guys think about the tight end position? Is Dallas Goedert trusted? We know he's talented. I'm never worried about Dallas Goedert when it comes to his talent. It's really him being available, and God forbid something does happen, tight end 2 is really big in question this year because they really didn't upgrade that position. Unless we get through training camp and Albert O and some of these other guys really start to pan out really well and be productive in Kellen Moore's system, then I'll be changing my mind a little bit. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, Flawless Side? Peace out, guys. Peace.